Hello, welcome to my channel, Lovely Moments Creating. If you are new here, consider joining the family by clicking that subscribe button and remember the notification bell so you can be reminded when I upload a video. My name is Jenny, and on this channel I create budget-friendly home decor that's easy to do. So if you want to see some of my creations, keep watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching another one of my videos. I am going to be creating some high-end looking DIYs using some budget-friendly items. From Walmart, I have this lavender bouquet, and what I like is that it's really full and pretty, and it's $3, and if you take it apart, you can use it for several projects. From the Dollar Tree, I have 3 rows of the small decorative rope, and I have one of the larger sizes. Also, I'm going to be using one of these round wood pieces, and I got this pack of 10 from Amazon for $13.99, and I will link this in the description box below. And I'll be using this Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Now what I'm going to do first is just wrap this rope around this wood piece, and I'm just adding some glue in the middle, and I'm just going to continue making a circle with this rope until it's covered. I'm adding hot glue as I wrap each piece around because I want to make sure that everything stays nice and secured to this wood piece. And this is how it looks with one row of the rope. And now what I'm going to do is start with the second row, and I am just going to start where I left off with the first and add some hot glue on the end. And then I'm going to connect the rope and press it down so that everything could blend in, and I'm going to continue this step with the second row. And so to complete this, I used 2 rows of the rope from the Dollar Tree and a little bit of the third one. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just cutting it off, and then I'm going to tack that down with the hot glue. And then the next thing I'm going to do is take that white paint, and I'm going to paint over this entire sign. And after I get this painted, what I'm going to do next is take some of the smaller rope, and I'm just going to spell out the word love. As you can see, I'm just taking small pieces of the rope to create the letters. So I'm just creating my L, and then what I'm going to do is take another small piece and create my O, and I'm going to continue this until I spell out love. And so it made it easier for me to just take the hot glue and draw out the letter and then just follow that pattern with the rope. Now what I'm going to do is take some hot glue and attach the larger rope around the rim of this sign. And once I get around to the top, what I'm going to do is start creating a hanger. And so what I'm going to do is just take some hot glue to secure that in, and then I'm just going to loop around the top, and then I'm going to attach it with some hot glue, and I'm just clipping it off, and then I'm going to take some hot glue and tack that down, and this will be how I will be able to hang my sign. And after that's secure, what I'm going to do is start adding my greenery first, and I did pull all of these pieces apart off of that lavender bunch so that I can add everything separate. And so I'm going in first with all of the greenery. And then once I get my greenery attached, I'm going to go in and add in those little lavender pieces. And after I finish adding my lavender pieces, this DIY will be complete. And I did paint the back of this sign so that it can have a nice finish as well. And I absolutely love how this turned out. It is so pretty. And I think this has a nice high-end look. I'm going to get started on the second DIY, and I'll be creating some rustic farmhouse candle holders using these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree. I have 5 of these wood craft cubes, and these are from Dollar Tree as well. And then I have 2 of these little metal small containers, and I believe those are 4 in a pack from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use some antique wax chalk paint as well as some of that white linen Rust-Oleum. And what I'm going to do first is I am going to stain 3 of these cubes, and I just go over it with the antique wax, and then I take my paper towel to wipe off the excess. And so I'm just going to continue this until I have all 3 of these wood cubes stained. And I didn't stain some of the sides because I realized that they're going to be stacked on top of each other. And so now what I'm going to do is take that linen white, and I am going to paint the remaining 2 cubes with that color. And after I get that complete, I'm going to add the rub-on transfers to just one side of these cubes. I originally was going to go all around, which I think will look really cute, but I'll probably do that at a later date. Now, once I get them transferred over, I'm just distressing around these white cubes. And then after I get them distressed, what I'm going to do is now stack my cubes. So I'm going to add this white one on top of the stained one, and then I'll take another stained one and add it on top of the white one. And this is going to be one of the candle holders. And then for the second candle holder, I'm just going to add the white right on top. And then once I get that complete, I am going to take the lids off those 2 little metal containers, and I'm going to use some E6000 and some hot glue and just attach these little containers right on top. Now all I have to do is add in 2 tea lights, and this DIY is complete. It was so simple, but I love the rustic farmhouse look. And at a later date, I will go around the white cubes and add more transfers, but I absolutely love how these turned out. And so now I'm going to get started on the third DIY for today. And what I'll be using is a sheet of this fabric that I got sent to me from Burlap Fabric. I'm going to be using some of these leftover foam pieces from the Dollar Tree. Also from the Dollar Tree, I have 2 of these wooden crates, as well as some floral moss and these really pretty flowers. The Dollar Tree put out some really pretty flowers this year, and I'll be using some leftover pieces from that lavender pick, and I'll be using the same color paint choices. And what I'm doing is carefully I am detaching 2 of these pieces from these crates, and I'm just carefully snapping them off. It was pretty easy, and I'm going to save those. So what I'm doing is I didn't take the third one off because I needed the surface to attach these 2 together. And then now what I'm going to do is just sand around the ones that I snapped off, because I'm going to use those to create my handle. So I'm just going to glue 2 of them together, and then I am going to get a third one that I snapped off a third crate to use as well. And now to cover the gaps on the side and create my basket, I'm going to attach those longer pieces on both sides, and then I'm going to take that third one and I'm just going to glue it to the top. And now I have my wooden basket. Now what I'm going to do is take that white linen chalk paint, and I'm going to paint this entire basket with that color. And so after I get that painted, I am going to go in with that antique wax and just stain over this white color. And I'm just brushing on the antique wax, and then I'm just going to take some paper towel and wipe it off. I just want to give this a really rustic distressed look. And then after I get that complete, what I'm going to do is take that fabric from burlap fabric, and I am going to cut it down to the size I want it to fit in this basket. And so I'm going to fold it in half first, and then I'm going to cut it. Once I get that cut in half, what I'm going to do is just pull off some of the strings to fray the edges. And then since it's thin, I'm going to fold it in half and then cut it again and fray both edges. But what I'm going to do is use both pieces of the fabric to style inside my basket. And so I'm going to take those foam pieces and make sure they fit in there, because these are just pieces that I cut off from previous DIYs. And once I see that they fit, I'm going to take some hot glue and tack them down inside the basket. And so what I'm going to do next is start clipping my florals off of the bunch, because I do want to add them in separate. I think these flowers are so pretty. I'm pulling the lavender pieces off of that bunch that I'm going to use, because I didn't want the lavenders in this basket. And so now I'm just adding all of my florals in here, making sure that it's nice and full. And then I'll go in with the greenery off of that lavender bunch, and I'll just start blending those in there. And so I decided to take one of my little chalkboard picks out of my pack from the Dollar Tree, and I am just going to write hello on one of the chalkboards using my little chalk pen from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to add that to my florals, and this DIY is complete. I love how this turned out. I think this is really pretty for the spring. And now I'm going to get started on the last DIY for today, and I will be using one of these painter sticks out of the 10-pack from Home Depot for 98 cents, one of these little small wood houses from the Dollar Tree, some leftover foam pieces. I'm going to be using these pieces off of that lavender bunch, some of this floral moss, and I'm also going to be using some small Dollar Tree letters. The first thing I'm doing is just measuring the size that I need, and then I'll take my knife just to cut it down, and I'll continue going over it until it breaks, and then I'll take my scissors to cut it off. What I'm going to do is take some hot glue and attach that piece down to the bottom of this wooden house. And once I get that tacked down, I'm going to take that linen white chalk paint, and I'm going to paint this entire house with that. And so after I get that complete, what I'm going to do is take my little sandpaper, and I'm going to sand all around this piece, just making sure that I get it distressed. And then also I'm going to sand around where I cut the little painter stick down. And after I get that complete, then I'm going to add my small Dollar Tree letters, and I'm just going to spell out the word home right down to the bottom. And then after I get that complete, I'm just going to go over it with some of that matte finish Mod Podge. And then I'm going to cut some of that foam down to make sure that it fits in the inside. And then once I get it cut down, what I'm going to do is just hot glue it right down. And now I'm going to start adding in all of my floral pieces. Once I get all of my pieces in there, I'm going to take that floral moss and just cover up the foam pieces, and then push some down in a corner where those gaps are, and then this DIY is complete. I absolutely love it. I think this is so cute. And here is a second look of all of the DIYs that I created today. Thank you all so much for watching another one of my videos. I absolutely do appreciate your support. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel because I would love to have you here. In the comment section below, let me know which one of these were your favorite. And until next time, my friends, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.